coming back.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
yay.
Anyways, yeah, kind of. I think you're probably talking about the same idea, but um, part of like I think there's a large part of certain types of games that allow you to do things that you're right that you can't do normally. Like maybe you're a competitive person, but you're not in sports, but hey, you are really good at League of Legends, so you can be competitive about that, or
Right.
Smash, or you're maybe really good at speed running games, so you do the speed running community and do things with that, or you play an MMO and you get to play somebody that is powerful and well spoken and people respect because maybe you wish you were that in real life.
Right.
Um, that just again, I think that there's the appeal to that I guess speak to some people greater than others.
Yeah, exactly.
I also would be I'm genuinely I would be scared that I would be that I would call in sick to
Right.
play video games. Like I don't I to me I don't ever want to be at the point where I am so invested in a video game that I'm going to call in sick.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, those are certain topics we could talk about all day too. But I want to get your opinion on something as well.
Okay.
In early January, I'm sure a lot of people know AGDQ, Awesome Games
Yes.
Done Quick, speedrunners. Various gamers, Twitch streamers would stream their game that they were, whether the world record speedrunner at or one of the best at Game Z, and this went on for a week. And to me, I couldn't stop watching because, and I've been watching it for a few years now. It's entertaining to watch these games just get completely destroyed. But the question that I have for you is, does speedrunning and focusing specifically on the glitching side of speedrunning, does that devalue a game or take away some of the integrity of playing a game, or should something like that be looked at as highly as it is in the speed community? As far as, I mean, the number one prime example is Ocarina of Time, a game that is
Yeah.
supposed to take you hours upon hours upon hours to complete. The world record is 18 minutes because there's glitches, this and that. Skip this, bam, boom, you win in 18 minutes because of bugs. Is something like that good, or should it be the I sped run this sped run? I don't know if that's a word, but I ran this game clean and proper as quick as I could. And there was lots of games in AGDQ where it was literally they would just until they were done. Like a game like Boshi, they would speed run and it took an hour. Or
Yeah.
games like Diddy Kong Racing would get speed run.
That's a wild
These
game to
these
speed
words
run.
I'm coming up with. But there's so many
They
games, like a game like Uncharted 2, I believe, got played, and it got broken because there was a glitch where you could duck through walls and skip minutes upon minutes of content. So I just want to know from you, what's your whole opinion about speedrunning and glitching, and where does that fall on your table?
First of all, I think with AGDQ and SGDQ, the summer version, um, the thing I think it's most important about that is that it raises charity money and it raises money for anybody who hasn't watched it. They raise money for really good causes for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Last year they raised $1 million during AGDQ. This year they were just shy of that. So I mean, this is something that is doing a lot of good for the get together with it. And so if you haven't seen it or if you haven't watched or donated to that, definitely take the
I
time to
think
do
they
it
post
because
them all. They
it's quite
post all
cool.
the speed runs on YouTube as well. On there,
I believe
I
so.
think
Yeah.
on my voice is going on their YouTube channel. But yeah, I mean it's definitely for a good cause. But ignoring the fact that they're raising money for
Right.
charity,
Yeah. I digress. I didn't just say I didn't want to point that out just in case anybody didn't know what we're talking about. I
right,
think you did because we're on Twitch. Um,
right,
I think, and there were sometimes you said you watched a whole bunch of them. There was a lot of times with AGDQ, and I think I do this most of the years that I've watched it, where there's some things that I'm just like, you know what, this isn't interesting to me to watch.
no, exactly,
Um, there are different kinds of speed runs. I think the whole speed run idea is very interesting. That there's you can do glitch speed run, you can do a tool assisted speed run, you can do a 100% run, you can do this and that and the other thing. So there's different runs for different games. I think depending on what the game is. Um, to I think for watching the Ocarina of Time run is boring as shit.
And yeah, like I don't feel like that's a speed run. I feel like that's breaking a game beyond belief.
Well, I don't know that it's breaking necessarily because it's hardwired into the game and it's something that they've found and exploited. I mean, they're still finding glitches. They found a brand new glitch to Super Mario Brothers, what, 6 months ago, where you can make a beanstalk grow in World 1, 2 if you do something specific.
Right.
Like, I mean, people just find those things because we can now look in the code and find inconsistencies.
Because people
in
are
how they code
fucking
them.
nerds. That's why.
Oh yeah, but that I mean, like that to me is kind of interesting. And if you're one of those people that's how you get your giggles, to find how to glitch out, an N64 game or a Super Nintendo game,
Right.
by all means, go ahead. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's interesting or it's fun to watch, but there's certain things like watching a game like say Yoshi's Island for Super Nintendo.
Right.
That one, I mean, they glitch out all sorts of parts of it. But what they do is they're using a glitch to, like, not to exploit and skip, multiple levels of this and that. It's, no, we do this and this saves about a second in getting through this. And if you have 3 or 4 strategies a level to do this, that saves 3 or 4 seconds a level.
Right.
And you do that over 20 levels, you might save a minute. So that's how you kind of get to that part of it. So I think that's more interesting when you're using it to sort of beat the level in the quickest way possible rather than be, oh, I'm going to skip over the game.
Where they talk about like frame perfect jumps or things like that. To me,
Yes.
that is impressive.
That's MLG game like skills to me. That's the
360 no scope, blaze it.
yeah, like that's the cool stuff. Like when people
Right.
are really good at games, like you should watch them and kind of go, "Wow, that was impressive that you
Right.
pulled that off." Or that and that's not the Ocarina of Time one. To me, it's I'm jumping a certain way at a certain time, and now I've skipped 5 hours of gameplay.
Right.
Well, that's not, that's not. If you were going to play something like Portal, and actually the guy who ran Portal at AGDQ ran it and got the world record, which was
Right.
super cool to watch. But you do things in Portal where it's like, okay, if you get through the level quick enough, then it doesn't trigger this scene or the GLaDOS line, so it saves you a bit of time.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like, oh, okay, that's a strategy, to run something quick or
Right.
to have the skills to do it quickly. That to me is much cooler and much more interesting to watch or to sort of wrap your head around than skipping an entire game because of a glitch.
Right. Yeah, I think these people that are looking into codes of games and breaking them and taking advantage of wall hacks and running backwards or whatever these like isn't there like there was a glitch in Zelda where if you would get blown up by a bomb as you were going backwards, it would send you back like at super speed or something like that.
Yeah, like hyper jumping.
Yeah, and then glitching through walls and falling down into planets of the next level. And like to me that and there's people that obviously like that takes skill to do as well, but I always feel that I'm much more impressed watching a guy speed run Yoshi's Island or Super Mario World or Super Metroid where if they screw up once, it's like reset because they missed a jump or something like that.
Super Metroid is perhaps, and we've talked about this, Super Metroid is the single greatest game for the word speed run in history.
Right.
Partly because it's such a good game. You can't glitch. I mean, I shouldn't say you can't, but really that game is so tight in its controls and the way it's programmed, and they have thought of everything in that one.
Yeah.
And the best example of that is if you haven't ever seen this, go on YouTube and search up Super Metroid Reverse Boss Run. And there is somebody on there that, and this is an actual run where they play Super Metroid by beating the bosses backwards, other than Mother Brain, because Mother Brain
Right.
has to come last. But this person goes through and beats Ridley first before any of the other bosses.
Yeah.
And that shit is amazing, because that is like the ultimate in, holy crap, I need to have some skills, I need to have a plan, I need to work this out and do it in this order, and then it's amazing to watch that. And like there's there's runs where you have 100% in that one, which is great, and it can do it in less than an hour. And there's tool assisted runs, but I mean there's so much stuff you can do just because people could get really freaking good at that
Right.
game. And that to me is super impressive. And I would much rather see something like that. And Super Metroid is the perfect game for
Yeah.
it. I've yet to find another game that they've done at AGDQ or anything else like that is that exciting to watch, because the skills on display are so incredible.
Right.
Have you
I
seen
have
that?
no
I
voice.
think we've
Yeah, I watched the video of it. It was pretty cool to watch, just because it totally takes what, I mean, it's you think of, let's compare Super Metroid to IKEA. IKEA tells you got to take the arrows this way. Super Metroid tells you got to basically go to this continent, or whatever you want to call them, area first, and then this area, and then this area, and then this area, and then you can finish the boss. But whoa, you're telling me there's a shortcut to the food court, and I can go there first and
yeah.
get my pillows before I go back and get my duvet cover? Can't believe I just referenced IKEA to video games. But
And you know what? Take that one step further. Still with the IKEA reference. Have you ever gone to the website that's IKEA Hacks?
no.
If you search up IKEA furniture hacks, there's a website where people take normal IKEA furniture and either use it in its form for something other than what it's intended for,
Right.
or like repurpose it into something totally different. So it's the same thing. Like you're still using the same tools from IKEA, but you're repurposing it for your own way.
Right.
Same thing with Super Metroid. You're taking the game and the rules it's put forward, and you are doing things a different way, playing by its own rules.
Right.
That's
Well, here's a perfect example. My television stand is an IKEA bookshelf turned sideways.
yeah. I have a couple of those as well. It's
Yeah.
called my record stand right right behind me. Which you can
Actually, could take it one step further even and say in Super Metroid you can get hot dogs for 50 cents.
Can I get Swedish meatballs?
You can get a whole bag.
I love the meat. I actually have never had the meat. I'm a little afraid to eat at IKEA. I don't know why.
I think I've had hot dogs from it. Honestly, it's probably no different than going and buying shitty hot dogs at a grocery store and boiling them in water at home. I'm sure it's the exact same.
Probably
Yeah.
the same as Costco food, I
Yeah,
imagine.
there's just no delicious potato salad that comes with it. But so again, for everyone who's watching, this is Games, Drinks, Opinions, a Terrible Gaming Bros podcast about stuff. This is
Drinks.
episode 1, drinks, episode 1. And if you want to give us a follow on Twitch, that would be awesome. Hit that follow button down below. I think it's like over there somewhere. But not only that, we do have a YouTube channel that you can see down below us here. YouTube.com/TerribleGamingBros as well. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's Twitter.com/TerribleGamingB or @TerribleGamingB. You can find us as well. And lastly, one more topic I want to discuss before we wrap up episode 1. Final topic of the day is conventions. And conventions is a hot topic because currently PAX South is going on in
PAX Texas.
in San Antonio, Texas, and it's the inaugural PAX South. But PAX has always been one of those conventions for me that I've never been able to attend because with my job in the past being so busy from March to October, which is basically when cons happen, I never had time. And I think this year, hopefully, I am going to have time.
Remedy that,
Hopefully, we're going to remedy that, and I'm going to have time to go to PAX Prime. And
Ooh,
I know
Seattle.
you and I have discussed going to PAX Prime, and I think it would be great if we took the train down to drove down to Montana and took the train to Seattle.
Train?
There's a train, and it's a lot of times specifically, yeah. A lot of Canadians take that train to go to Seahawks games. There's literally a train station right outside of the Seahawks football stadium. So yeah, I've been wanting to look into that. But talking about cons again, I went to BlizzCon in 2013, and it was definitely an eye-opening experience for me because I thought I was a nerd, but I'm just a wannabe, is what I discovered.
Yeah.
But things like PAX, San Diego Comic-Con has turned into this thing so much more than just comic books now. It's become like a celebrity type affair.
It's a Hollywood advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
Now.
And it's almost like these conventions such as PAX, such as enter city name here, Comic Con, whether it's San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con, Boston Comic Con, whatever it is. It's almost become this thing where it's socially acceptable to
be a nerd.
Exactly. And I mean, comic book movies and TV shows are the flavor of the year, decade, whatever you want to call it. And that's why something like San Diego Comic-Con has turned into not only comics, but TV shows are going there, movies are going there. There's panels of whatever it might be.
Major movies are getting announced.
Exactly. And I want to know from you, what is your thoughts on kind of the changing of the guard, I guess, with conventions, how they're turning into this next level of socially accepted nerdiness, and what are some cons that you yourself, being the socially accepted nerd that you are, would like to go to coming up in the near future?
I kind of liken it to something I do already, which is music festivals. Music festivals, like, to be a music nerd, again, I'm a big music nerd, is a lot like being a comic book nerd and a video game nerd, in that you're listening to music that a lot of people don't know or don't listen to, so you're going against the norm. And going to a music festival, like, there's one in Calgary here called Sled Island that I've been to the past several years, and it's basically a bunch of music nerds that get together with these bands that they want to see, and a lot of times get to interact with the bands, which is super cool. So to me, and music festivals now are like comic book festivals, like Coachella and Bonnaroo and Sasquatch and Austin City Limits. Like, these are huge things that people will go to and share this love. Well, say, or go there to be seen in fashion. Let's face it, that's what Coachella is, or Ultra or anything like that. But I think that that's a similar trend to what something like San Diego Comic-Con and other Comic-Cons like it, or video game ones. Video game ones, I think, are on the upswing. Like, Comic-Cons, I think, are already there.
Right.
But I think video game ones are starting to get that way, because it only used to be that E3 was the big thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, other than that, it was game shows like the Tokyo Game Expo and that sort of thing. But now, like, stuff like PAX, which I'm super pumped to actually get to Seattle and go do that. So,
right.
Like, something like that, I'm all for the people coming together with that, because it does more than just, like, to say to somebody you're a video gamer. There's a lot of types of video gamers that you can be.
Right.
Like, to say you're a music lover, well, you might be a metalhead or a hip hop fan or a folky or a fucking death metal bra, whatever it is. You can go to a video
Death
game
metal
convention.
bra.
I don't know.
And
But you can go to a video game convention, and it's like you've got your MMO nerds, and you have your card playing nerds, and you have your fighting game people, and you have your RPG people,
right.
and your Nintendo fanboys, and whatever, like, people that play a little bit of everything, or indie games or retro games. Like, I'm all for that, because it brings something together rather than so much of games now is like, oh, I'm going to play online, but I'm sitting here in my room or in my, you know,
Exactly.
living room with no interaction. And I mean, we grew up playing, hey, let's go play GoldenEye with four of us in the basement, yelling and swearing and having the
Or
greatest
like,
time.
I can remember one game that we used to play a lot of with other people was Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey
Oh, all
on
the
Nintendo
time.
64.
Yeah. And
Like,
even, I mean, even to get together with friends when it was like the NES days, and you
right.
only play two player, but then it was like, winner stays on, my
Exactly.
turn. And
Exactly.
like, so it's the, I like the gathering of people to do that kind of thing. Like, because video games is less and less about gathering people together to have fun and more about trying to show off your skills or trying to, like,
Right.
or isolating yourself away. So I am totally all for that. Comic-Con wise, again, comic book nerds, you know, like, that's not something you necessarily have a lot of people to do stuff with or talk about
You
it
can
with.
role
So to
play.
go,
I don't
well, yeah, but
know.
like, I mean, if you grew up in a small town, you know, I mean, when we were growing up, like, there were some kids that loved Spider-Man and some kids that liked X-Men and some kids that were really into it and liked everything,
Right.
and some that liked Batman and Superman. You had like DC and Marvel people, but you also had people that didn't have anything to do with it at all.
Right.
And, you know, going to big things like Comic Cons and things like that. Now it's like, oh yeah, I watched that movie and I'm kind of into that now. So if it
Yeah.
if it spreads the good of these kind of things,
Well, it's
all for it.
Turnover Nation in chat hit it on the head. I think when people go to these conventions, they can be themselves, and and whether you are going to a video game convention, you are going to a music festival, you are going to a Star Trek convention. Like if there were people that, I mean, Star Trek people, they're going to take over the world one day. I'm convinced. And perfect example of that is you and I know this. We tried to go to Calgary Comic Con, but it was sold out, and the reason it was sold out was because the Next Generation cast was there doing autographs. And so what did we do
The first
instead?
time they had all been together, it
Yeah,
was a big deal. The first time they had all been
exactly.
together at the
And
same
and you know
place.
what? That's
So,
great, and that was awesome for them. But us
bad
not
for us.
pre-ordering tickets, what did we do at 11 o'clock in the morning? We went to a bar and we drank and ate pizza. And but I think you think of I guarantee you when Star Wars Episode 7 comes out, the movie theaters are going to be jam-packed of people dressed up. And I think
Yeah.
I was in high school when the new trilogy came out, and I guarantee you, but I mean, like that whole Fanboys movie, isn't that the whole, they try to sneak into
Yeah.
Lucas's house to see episode 1, and
Yeah.
at the very end of it, they're in the theater about to watch it, and one of the guys looks at the other ones and says, well, what if it's bad? And to me, and that's funny because they never really thought about that. All they were concerned about was getting to see it.
Yeah.
And but I guarantee you at episode 7 people are going to be dressed up. And you go to Star Trek conventions, people dress up. You go to a World of Warcraft convention, people will dress up. You go to a League of Legends convention, people will dress up.
You go to Calgary Comic Expo and people
Yeah.
are going to dress up.
You go to Ultra Music Festival and people will dress down. But regardless of anything like that, there might be person X who looks completely awful in their outfit. It's revealing things that it should not be revealing, this and that. But bro, check out that kick-ass costume that person's wearing.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And because that's the audience that you have at these conventions. And I feel like something like PAX, where PAX is all about, or not all about, but a lot of focus on PAX is about the gaming community. And with something like Twitch taking off as much as it has, it's got a huge part into something like PAX, BlizzCon, Comic-Con, all this stuff. There's meet and greets that are happening. So a live streamer who is talking to you via webcam through Twitch, who, whether he's been streaming, or he or she, sorry, has been streaming to 50 people or 50,000 people, that person has a fan base. And maybe streamer X has made your day a little better, or whatever it is. But there's communities involved with it. And I was watching videos on PAX, and where Twitch streamers are having contests against each other for the ultimate prize.
Right.
But not only that, watching people on Twitter, photos of, hey, it's me with this streamer, me with this streamer, me with this streamer.
Yeah.
It's almost like something like streaming has become a place where people can almost idolize others. Where it's, okay, there's this League of Legends streamer who is so good at the game and so fun to watch. That person makes me want to play that game.
I don't know that it's necessarily idolizing, but I think you're close in that I see and if you see
That's two Bill Cosby references this podcast.
I know. The Bills and
Stop
the
that.
people.
Stop that.
Sorry, I
Stop.
think Amy Poehler has that one trademarked.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think probably part of Twitch being so successful is also the reason why things like Netflix are so successful, in that TV, as we knew it traditionally growing up, is slowly dying off in favor of other methods of entertainment. And while things like, sports will never die away on TV, forms of entertainment like the traditional sitcom are dying a slow, painful death because most of them are awful and there's not many on anymore. Whereas if you go on Twitch and you can watch something like the Sour Kool-Aid Show or Man vs. Game or Zeke or Gassy Mexican or, go on to YouTube and watch Toby or PewDiePie or JonTron or Game Grumps or anything like that, that is replacing everyday entertainment. So it's not necessarily that they idolize them, but it's that, this is where I get my daily entertainment. It would be like being I go somewhere and I meet Neil Patrick Harris, and he's my daily entertainment on How I Met Your Mother, or it's replacing the celebrityism of TV with the I don't know if you want to call it celebrityism, but
I think you could.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I think it probably is in a different, they're not self-promoting themselves like celebrities would necessarily, but it's, it's meeting people that entertain you.
But, I mean, I guarantee you there is a lot of people out there that can say to themselves, ever since they've discovered something like Twitch TV or Netflix or Hulu in the US, they do not watch their television as much. And I'm a prime example of that. Is I have Netflix. I at one point had Hulu, where if you pay the $5 for Hulu Plus, you're watching the show the next day. A lot of the shows are on there. Not only that, but with the ability to illegally download stuff these days, it seems that it's so easy to get a product right away. Like Game of Thrones. I guarantee you there's people that as soon as Game of Thrones has ended, somebody is hitting upload on that video that they've recorded through their PVR into the internet world. And I mean, you hit it on the head. Sporting events, but you say that there's live streaming of sporting events. I can go online and search for some illegal stream of the Super Bowl, I guarantee you. And I think I've even watched the Super Bowl on my computer before, strictly for the reason of the commercials, because living in Canada, we get shitty Canadian commercials, this and that, and people will do anything to watch the Super Bowl strictly for the commercials. And I know I'm not going to say I watched a lot of TV, but I watched a lot of recorded shows on TV, like the CSIs and the 24s and all that stuff. But the fact that you can get stuff online now on Netflix, you can watch movies now. A lot of people, their entertainment is Twitch. They tune in to this streamer at this point, at this streamer at this point. They spend a lot more time on their computer, and that's taking Twitch out of the aspect too, because of Netflix, Hulu, all that stuff. When you're paying a cable bill that's anywhere from $30 to $100 a month, where you're getting internet anyways for your $60, why not spend?
You're exactly right there. I bet you I have at least a dozen friends that I know of and probably could list off that don't have any cable for that exact reason. In that, they're already paying so much for the internet, and Well, I download all my stuff off of Netflix and whatever, anyways. So why am I double paying for
And
cable?
and I would survive perfectly fine without television now. If you were to ask me 10 years ago, what would I rather go without, television or internet? And I would have said cut my internet now. But
Yeah, 10
today,
years ago was a lot different. That
yeah,
was
and then that's just a
2005.
changing of the guard. And 2005, I was in college, living the dream, sleeping with hundreds of women, drinking hundreds of bottles of beer.
Disclaimer: may not actually be as advertised.
Anyways, however, today, if you were to say which one would you cut, I would say television in a second because I can still watch Netflix, things like that. You have the internet. The internet changed the social world and this and that. I've made some great friends through the internet and through gaming and things like that. And I went to BlizzCon and roomed with 5 other people that I had never met until we landed at LAX.
Yeah.
And over a year later, I still talk to them all the time on Skype, and we'll probably continue to talk to some of them. And there's a lot of people that have made friends online where they've struggled with that social aspect out in the real world, and then going to these conventions, getting back on track, going to these conventions like a PAX, where it's like everyone who goes to PAX is there for one thing and one thing only: sex. Sorry, video games. And
Oh, I mean,
what? But if you go to a place where you know you're going to fit in, you're going to be yourself, you're going to have fun, you're going to enjoy the time you spent there, you're going to enjoy the people you're with, because you know what, maybe this person isn't the coolest person out there to everybody, or isn't the most in shape person, or isn't the tallest person, or doesn't have the best dressed wardrobe, whatever it is, but you guys share something in common, and that's love for gaming. And I know, I mean, you look at something like Minecraft. Minecraft is this huge gaming phenomenon that,
I don't get, but
wow. But anyways,
I know that it's a big, gigantic thing. Yeah.
a game like Minecraft has gotten so many non-gamers into video gaming. And it's something as simple as, hey, are you a gamer? No, but I play Minecraft. Well, you're a gamer. Just because you're not a hardcore World of Warcraft player or a League of Legends player, or I own every single PlayStation 2 game that's ever been released, or things like that. Just because you're a different gamer doesn't mean you're not a gamer. And person X over here might think World of Warcraft is dumb as shit. Now let me go play League of Legends. So there's that whole aspect of things, is that people are going to be different, but in the scheme of things, they're the same. And you look at it compares directly with comic book nerds, DC to Marvel. Is I hate Marvel. I love Batman, Superman, Justice League, blah blah blah. Or DC is stupid. Go Spider-Man. Go the Hulk. Whatever it is, but you share a common love for comic books or these indie comics that are out there, or whatever it might be. There's so many different levels of video games, and just because I hate playing this game doesn't mean it's a shitty game or that you're stupid for playing it. It's just not my thing. And there's people out there that think you're wasting your time spending $15 a month subbing to an MMO. But then there's this other person out there who they've met great friends on it, this and that, and they've grown their social aspect to it. So I think mentions that are growing and getting bigger and expanding is giving these let's call them nerds, because they are. We're nerds. But it's giving them kind of that in-person feel, and hey, come to PAX and we'll give you some swag and you can try this game before it's out and this and that. It's almost like the Olympics for nerds is these conventions, right? And where, I mean, you look at like E3 or Gamescom, where a lot of the stuff is released at these. But then you look at something like BlizzCon. BlizzCon has the StarCraft World Championship Finals. PAX Prime has the League of Legends Summer North America finishing, as does I don't know if I think Gamescom maybe does for the European LCS, but
Something like that, yeah. Mhm.
there
No,
there's all these things that are out there with these conventions that are drawing these people in, and they don't have to worry about feeling out of place in these worlds because everyone else is with you, bro, basically.
I also do think that it is. Um, I think nowadays there's less of a stigma about being a person that plays video games. Um,
Right.
because I like every it's there at some point in time everybody has played a Mario game. Anybody can pick up and play Mario Party or Mario Kart or
Right.
even to go the other way on it, something like Minecraft or Wii Bowling or whatever it was. There's always something where you can. I mean, hell, our parents have played it. Technically, you can say they may not enjoy video games, but they enjoyed the hell out of Wii Bowling a few Christmas Eves ago.
After a few delicious beverages, anyone will enjoy a video game.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there's less of playing video games does not make you an outcast like it used to, because it used to be the domain of, the same type of people that would do things like play D&D or, read fantasy novels or comic books, because
Yeah.
that was sort of a common thing. Now, there's a lot of people that play video games, and even if they go, oh, video games, you bust out, DDR in the arcade. Okay, jumped around, dun dun dun. Oh, I made a fool of myself, but that was kind of fun.
Right.
Like, there's way less of a stigma behind it. So,
Hmm.
and I think the conventions definitely help with that. And, it's the gay pride thing. Gay pride parades were in existence for years and years and years before they became a socially acceptable thing.
Hmm.
They occurred in all sorts of cities, and
Right.
now they're all over. I mean, they're all over the world in places you couldn't even imagine that they would be tolerated. And
Yeah.
it's that's maybe a more extreme example, I guess, but
Right.
they've there were certain places where video games just weren't played or weren't even legal in certain parts of the world, and now it's like, oh, you can go anywhere and play video games.
Right. And
It's more common. It's something that
yeah.
everybody sort of does, or everybody. Oh, I don't really play video games, but one time I bought a Mario game. Like be right. I bought a cheap Wii because I could play Super Mario.
Right. Exactly.
There's the stigma behind being a gamer is far less, and really this if you have a stigma of being a gamer, it's because you're a douchebag on Call of Duty, calling each other all manner of whatever, and you're reinforcing the negative parts of it.
Right.
Yeah, you don't see those people well, you might see those people at PAX, but
Yeah.
they're talking to you face to face. They're not going to be
They're gonna be different.
trash talking. They're not going to be trash talking
Yeah.
you like they would if you're not in front of you. So
Right. But I think bottom line, PAX Prime, which is in August, I believe.
woo.
You heard it here first. Look for the Terrible Gaming Brothers to be at PAX Prime, signing autographs for our tens of fans out there.
Tens of fans. We'll sign Turnover Nation's PlayStation 2 that he still has.
Absolutely. But you know what? I think now's a good time to cut it short. This episode 1, games, drinks, opinions. Again, Terrible Gaming Bros podcast about stuff. And
Yeah, we're gonna do this on I think on most Fridays going forward now.
every Friday. Every Friday it'll be live on Twitch. Every Saturday it'll get uploaded to YouTube. And yeah, if you guys like what you see, hit that follow button, whether it's on Twitch, on YouTube, youtube.com/terriblegamingbros, twitch.tv/terriblegamingbros, and you can follow us on Twitter as well at terriblegamingb. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for episode 1. Again, my name is Grover, and that is
Battle Flag over
Battle
here.
Flag.